So next part is packing and unpacking a tuple. So packing a tuple is just the same as what we've written here. The new tuple equals all of these names. But imagine that we want to unpack a tuple. So when you want to unpack a tuple, you unpack this by assigning all of these items or part of these items to other variables, so that those variables are no more tuples, or some of them might be tuples but with a certain sign. So there are different ways to unpack a tuple. We're going to cover it in this part of the tutorial, and so let's see what or how we can do this. So we can declare some other variables and write them inside these parentheses. So for example, we can write first name, second name, comma, third name, fourth name, and then we can unpack this tuple. So let's copy this and paste it over here. And then we can, by doing this, we're unpacking this tuple, and all of these variables will be the same as, for example, Jack first name will equal Jack, the second name will equal Sarah, and so on and so forth. So this way we are somehow mapping all of these items inside the tuple to a certain variable, and by doing so we are unpacking a tuple. Similarly, we can write the name of this tuple, new tuple, over here. So instead of mapping all of these items together in a way we can see, we can write the variable that is declared as this tuple over here. So the reason I write it like this was that you can just see this kind of mapping: first name Jack, second name Sarah, and third name Alice and Martin, so on. So let me save this new tuple, and also let's print first name, and this one here is not first name, this is something else. So let me edit this. Okay, and also this is capital N. Can do the same for other parts. Second name. So VS Code helps you write the variables you want faster, so you can only write the first letters and you can find the variable that you want inside the list you've been given. So I can here write 4 and you will find the first name. You can save this and see what's the result. So here, as you can see, we have the last 4 printed out. The last 4 items that are printed out are first name. First one is Jack, Sarah, Alice, and Martin. So the same as Jack, Sarah, Alice, and Martin. So here we unpacked this tuple into different variables. There are also different ways of unpacking. For example, if I write, instead of fourth name, I write asterisk here. So what asterisk does is to unpack, or this is not kind of unpacking, but it will assign all of this, it will put all of this tuple together inside this fourth name variable. So if I print out fourth name, if I save this and print it out here, as you can see, it will pack it inside Martin. The reason that Martin is only included in this tuple because the number of variables here is the same as the items inside the tuples, but if we don't have the third one here, let's see what happens. So let me also comment the third name, save and print this result. Here, as you can see, the rest of the tuple, which is Alice and Martin, the third name, and the fourth name will be included inside this tuple. So asterisk here will assign not all of the tuple, but part of the tuple inside this. The rest that is not packed will be included inside this fourth name here. So imagine that you don't have a first name and a second name. So let me also comment these two prints. And once we run this code, okay, we're not allowed to write this because the rest of the variables, if we write this is the same as writing the fourth variable equals to the new tuple. So we're not allowed to write it this way inside a tuple, because if we want this kind of result, we can simply write it this way. But if I write it this way, so for example, we have the first name and the rest of the tuple will be included inside the fourth name. Once I save this code and print it here, as you can see, inside the first name we have Jack, and the rest of the names that are inside the tuple will be declared inside the fourth name. So the fourth name will have the rest of the inside it, or this is kind of a unpacking and packing inside the fourth name. And similarly, if I add the second name, you will see that the fourth name will have Alice and Martin. And if I include the third name, we will have only the Martin, just the way we have tried in our previous parts. You can see that we have had those results. We had Alice and Martin when we had the second name, and when we had the third name, we only had Martin here. So here one question raises, and that is, what if we have another item here? So for example, this one is the second name. We have asterisk for it, second name, and we also have the fourth name without asterisk. So fourth name without asterisk, and we also want to print second name. So let's see what happens here. So before that, let's save the code and run it. And here, as you can see, we have the first one, Jack, for the first name. We have the last one, Martin, for the fourth name. And for the second name, we have a tuple containing Sarah and Alice, which are the second and the third one. So asterisk here will consider all of the rest of this tuple except the last one and the first one. So if here I write, if I add another variable, which is for example James, for example, and it could be any other name. So we have 5 items, and we have, for example, here we have nothing. If I save this code and run this, here as you can see we have Sarah, James, and Alice. So consider that we have also the third name. And so let's see what happens here. Let me also print out the third name. So here, as you can see, Alice here is not the third name. This is actually the fourth name. Printed out here, Martin is the fifth name. We'll still have the remaining parts, which are James and Sarah, inside this tuple, inside the second name, which has an asterisk inside it.